Hello and good evening. Come to Homecare Queen TV. I am your host, Muriel Melville. Now, let's talk about our last episode. In our last episode, or I'd call it the introduction episode, I packed in a lot. So now I'm going to unpack what I've gone through in the introductory process to give you a clear understanding or a clear idea of what the process might look like for you. But before I go into that, let me say that the discussions or the suggestions that are made here is not intended to replace your doctor's order, your family's decision. It is not to persuade you one way or the other. It's to give you choices. And therefore, I would like you to understand that it's to give you choices and not to be a substitute for a doctor's order or to influence your choice. And whatever decision you make in caring for your loved one, you should be truly comfortable with it. Now, let's move on. So, we talked about a lot. And one of many things I talked about is caregiving, understanding when you may or may not need a caregiver. What are the signs to look for? What are the conversations to be had? So now, after we've had the conversations with our doctor, with our family, and even with the individual that needs the care, now we're going to talk about caregiving and what it looks like. Now, there are different tiers in caregiving or different tiers for caregiving. So, the simplest one is a companion. What is a companion? A companion is someone who comes in the home when their family members or in a facility where there's staff that assist you to prevent falling or to help the individual be safe. They can also be referred to as a sitter, help the individual warn you when the individual is getting into situations that might create safety. So that's the simplest form of caregiving. Again, the companion is there to create a safety barrier for you if you're in the home and you're the main caregiver and you need simple support. They can alert you to issues that your family members might be facing at the time that you are not there. So that's the simplest form of caregiving. With that form of caregiving, the cost can be a little above the minimum wage. So, say whatever the minimum wage is in your state. In Arizona, I believe it's $15 an hour. But whatever the minimum wage is in your state, a companion can be a little above that, two or three or whatever dollars above that. So that's the simplest form of caregiving. Now we're going to talk about the certified, experienced individual. That is what we call a career caregiver. The certified career individual with the experience to expand your needs and to support your needs. That individual should be an individual that is trained, certified in the state that you live. Every state has different criteria for certification. In Arizona, it's a few months, maybe 2 to 3 months minimum. So you need to find out in your state what is the minimum for certification. Now, as long as a person presents with a certification from your state, they have met the requirement for a caregiver. That is something that you can be comfortable with. If the person presents their state certification, they have been properly trained. Now, the other tier in caregiving, and when we talk about caregiving again, we're talking about someone that is certified and is trained to work in the state that they live. Now we're going to talk about the nursing assistant. A certified nursing assistant. Let's track back a little bit. The certified caregiver, the spectrum of care is wide for them. They can supervise if the individual is able to take their own meds. They're put in a mediset by the family or by the visiting nurse. And the certified caregiver can remind the person it's almost time to take your pills. And they can also direct the individual to where the pill is. Now, the family has a right to designate the person to say, I give you the right and I take full responsibility for you to give this individual their medication. And the agency might, if you're using an agency, they might have different rules in regards to giving medication. But when you hire a private person and you're comfortable with them and they have experience in Arizona, they're certified med techs. If this individual is a caregiver and certified med tech, you can be comfortable in using them to dispense your medication. They're also able to do wet to dry dressing, and a visiting nurse will teach you and teach the caregiver how to do that properly. They can also assist with instructions from the physical therapist and how to support your family member in continuing physical therapy exercises at home. So, a certified caregiver has a broader spectrum of experience and training than a companion. Remember, we talked about the companion before? That person just has experience going to homes or going to facilities, sitting with the person to keep them safe and calling on whether it's family or if it's in the institution, they're calling the staff to continue the care with the person. So I hope you understand the companion and the certified caregiver. The certified caregiver have a wider span to take care of your family member in the home. Most facilities use certified nursing assistants slash caregivers. Now, let's talk about the certified nursing assistant and caregiver because this individual has as a year or 6 months to a year training with an internship in a facility, take the state exam, has passed it, and they're a certified nursing assistant. These individuals can work in homes, they can work in hospitals, nursing homes, emergency room. These individuals have a broader spectrum of care than the caregiver. So you see how the tier moves in your favor. So in Arizona, most agencies, in order to work as a certified nursing assistant, you also have to be a certified caregiver. So the person in the home now is able to do an oxygen treatment. They're able to change the bandage. They're able to take blood pressure. They're able to do a finger stick. they're also, if they're experienced, they're able to spot an illness before it occurs. They know the symptoms of a UTI. They know what happens between this. Likewise, the certified caregiver is able to pick up on some of the nuances that goes along in change of behavior. So, and then when we talk about change of behavior, so you got in this morning, the person was fine, and then they got a little off in the evening. The person knows to check their blood pressure, to ask questions, to come up with an assessment so they could call the nurse, notify the family or the doctor, and move forward with the care. So, in hiring a nursing assistant who is also a caregiver, the skills is also different for the work. So we have the companion with, or the sitter, companion or sitter, they're interchangeable. Then we have the certified the certified caregiver. Then we have the certified nursing assistant, who's also the licensed nursing assistant, who's also a certified caregiver. So now we talked about the responsibilities of the certified caregiver. We talked about the responsibility of the certified nursing assistant and caregiver, and we also talked about a companion. Now there are tiers. And as I said before, the companion basic pay will start probably at minimum wage. You and the person will decide that. Their pay is drastically different than a certified caregiver. Because with the certified caregiver, you're paying for her training, you're paying for her experience, and you're also paying because she'll be able to align herself with the needs of your family member. Whatever the discharge need is, that person will be able to, whether it's hospice care, whether it's critical care, that person will be able to assess. Now, the, the fees are higher. The minimum starting for a private caregiver is $25 an hour and up in Arizona. So the tier goes with the pay. So we're using a certified caregiver. The pay is $25 and up. If we are going to use a certified nursing assistant and caregiver, that pay can start anywhere between 35 and $40 an hour. Again, it's not a law, it's not written down in a book. The individual charges according to their experience and their expertise. So, therefore, that negotiation will take place with you and the caregiver. Okay? So, we have got to the acceptance that we need a caregiver. We now understand the different tier in caregiving. We now understand that the pay will go with the experience. And then the next episode, we will deal with the interviewing and negotiation process to conclude hiring a caregiver. So we'll go through on the next episode the interviewing process and how do we close that process so that we attain the person that can align themselves to the care that the family member needs. Okay? Please like, share, subscribe to this channel because if you're not in need of a caregiver, There is someone in your circle that does. This is Home Care TV, and I'm your host, Muriel Melville. Thank you and good night.